Good evening, teacher. Today I'm going to present my topic. How has technology changed the way we consume news? How has it changed how the news is reported? Well, basically, I have a presentation next to me where you're going to be able to see what I'm explaining or mentioning about. Let's go back in time to see how it was done in the last 60 years. Here you can see, right now I'm checking the 1960s, and this is the way that they were illustrating or actually transmitting video in that moment of time. Also, here is a small picture of how the newspapers looked like in that moment, also in the 1960s. Next, I have here a picture for the 1970s. We can actually see that there is a difference. Now they have color in the transmissions, and well, with the newspaper, is still really similar to the 60s. 1980s seems that in that moment technology was actually increasing. So yes, the way that newspapers and the TV shows and the news via TV was
Where
actually looking different. You can see that now we have color and a better quality in the image, and also we can see that some parts of the newspaper that I have there, it's showing some color and better quality on certain parts of it. 1990s, we can see that technology affected the way that everything looked, and you can actually see that they got better cameras, better equipment, and they even have a better studio in order to present the news. Also, now we can see that the newspaper has colors, and the way that this is printed is actually different. It has a better quality. In the 2000, it was like a huge step. Technology affected a lot the way that the news and the video was transmitted. Now we can see a lot of lights to illuminate the studio. We can see effects on the screen in multiple sessions at the same time. Then, if you see the newspaper that is next to it, it has more colors, better quality. So at the moment, technology is affecting positively these two ways to transmit information. 2010, we can see that it's even better. We have now this live sessions with multiple cameras, multiple angles, um, multiple ways to receive this information. Could be through the TV, through an application on our smartphones or tablets. And well, this current year, the 2020, we have again an improved version of how we transmit the news. So basically, in these last 60 years, technology has actually affected the way that we consume and the way that we look at this news. Now I have here a small chart where we can see how do consumers get to the news. If you see 32% of it, it's directly on the news site. Then 25% is through searching. This means Googling. Then 23% is about social media. So now newspapers and TV news are using social media to also create articles and share this with their followers. There are people that is receiving the news through email, mobile alerts, and aggregators. Below you can see actually that this was a survey about for almost 67 thousand people in 36 countries. Um, then there is another chart of the average weekly price of digital subscription at newspaper by region. If you see, most states in the United States are consuming now the news through a digital subscription, and we're talking about $2 million, $3 million, and even a top of $4.5 million. So yes, technology is affecting the way that we consume news. Now I can actually ask for a subscription where every single week I'm going to receive certain news that may be aligned to what I want to actually receive. Now, not everything is good regarding technology and the news. Even though it's easier to transmit the news through social media, um, digital services, is not like helping the news to to maintain their selves, because there's another chart here. We can see that yes, digital is actually better than print in the advertising revenue, but it didn't help the newspapers to maintain their top revenue. For example, I can see here, and you can see there, $49.4 billion. That was the top in in 2005. But even though now we have better ways to transmit and it's more efficient, revenue for advertising is not increasing. Um, we can see until 2013 that actually it went to $20 billion. So it's half of the revenue that they were doing before. Now, I believe this is key on why the revenue on advertising on news is not increasing. Basically, we can see that Google, advertising on Google, it's better, seems to be easier, and well, in this chart you can see that currently Google is winning the annual revenue for advertising. So I believe investors and people who wants to advertise, they think that it's better to use Google services to advertise their products than using the old way. Using newspapers, even though they are digital now, it's easier to get a advertisement in your let's say, well, actually in Skype, even in your Gmail, you will find certain advertisements. So I believe that's why it's helping Google to increase their advertising, and well, newspapers are actually losing. Now, I found this. It says words so innocent and powerless as they are, as standing in a dictionary. How potent for good and evil they become in the hands of one who knows how to combine them. This is by Nathaniel Hawthorne, and that's totally true, because nowadays we have the famous fake news, as you can see. The problem with technology is that now it's easier to transmit uh, incorrect information or even fake information. And it's so easy to just share an article that has no resources. It doesn't have like valid information about a topic, and we can just share that through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through Twitter, and if that person doesn't know that that article is fake, that person is going to start sharing this with their family and their friends. So it's a big problem with technology. Now, we can see tons of fake articles all over the network. In conclusion, I believe that it's like a 70 versus a 30%. 70% positive. I believe that technology is affecting the way that we consume news in a positive way. Now it's easier and we can verify if what we're reading or watching is actually true. The 30%, I believe that again it's easier to transmit incorrect information, fake information, and if we're not used to use these new ways to consume news, for example, through social media, smartphones, and things like that, people may start believing like all these gossips and all this fake news. So it's for me, it's like a 70 versus 30% being 70 in a positive way. And adding to this topic, I believe that in the next 20, 30 years, this is going to continue improving because nowadays we can see that um, every time is easier and faster to transmit something. We're getting better articles, better quality in the way we perceive this information. So I believe it's going to be like a 90 versus 10%, being 90 a positive way that technology is affecting the news nowadays.